Hey everyone, this is Sarah Catherine, author of the blog Sincerely SC. I'm here today with Alexis von Aulock and Kimberly Sanchez, who together make up the indie band Playful Banter. Hi Alexis and Kim, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Playful Banter is a singer-songwriter duo based in Morris County, New Jersey. They've performed for a variety of venues, including the Green Mountain Bluegrass and Roots Festival, Morristown OnStage, the Middle Valley Community Center, and Schiff Nature Preserve's Music in the Woods series. It was at the Middle Valley Community Center that I first saw them perform in 2019, and I was immediately blown away by their powerful harmonies and their very down-to-earth nature. By the end of the night, I knew I wanted to speak to them and learn more about their music and their story. So fast forward to today, and here we are. So I'm super excited to be interviewing you guys today.
Us too.
So first off, how are you doing? The world's pretty topsy-turvy right now, and the music industry's been one of the hardest hit by COVID-19. So how are you navigating this new world? I feel we're all feeling that way.
Yes. I mean, luckily both of us work full time. I can't imagine my heart goes out to all the full-time musicians who are truly, truly struggling to even make a living right now. Luckily, both of us also work, so that has definitely alleviated some of the stress. We're definitely bummed, but we're just trying to keep, happy spirits and keep creating and keep the creative energy alive. And I think as long as that's there, it stays fun. So.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad that you guys, are lucky to be in that position. I know it's not easy. I'm lucky to be able to be working full time too from home, which is good. But I definitely know what you mean about my heart goes out to all those people who, aren't in the same position. I'm glad you guys are doing well. It's definitely like Kim's reaction was, we're all feeling that way.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So I absolutely adore the name Playful Banter. I think it's definitely very fitting for your aura and personalities. And so I wanted to ask, how did you two meet and how did Playful Banter form and come to be?
So there was this little cute place that held open mic nights called Rest Stop Rejuvenate in Rockaway. Is it still there? I don't know. Yeah. But Alexis had been playing there, like in open mics, and I met her through there, and I started playing there afterwards, and we were playing separately. And I remember a lot of people kept telling me, like, oh, you guys should play together. You guys should play together. And we were like, oh, yay. And because it's a very vulnerable thing, to like, not only to play music together, it's one thing if you're doing covers and stuff, but then to write together. We got really close through that open mic kind of series that they had, and then we started playing together, and we got really close, and we became close with each other's friends, and then now we live together, we play music together, we're like pretty tight. And then, back in 2017, we were offered to kind of showcase ourselves as musicians together. And it was our first show right before Playful Banter became a thing. And we got all of our friends together to kind of help back us up. And we had this really awesome show. And so many people came out to support us, and it would just work really well. And we were like, oh, we can do this. So we started playing together a little more, and then we wrote our first song together, which is actually called Playful Banter. And the way that Playful Banter came about was like, I remember we were texting. I'm never going to forget it because it was May of 2017, and I texted you because we were like, what are we going to call ourselves or whatever. But something about us, like when we practice, it's not just like we're practicing music. It's like this very funny, quirky, kind of we're like bantering back and forth, and it's just very playful. So I was like, what about Playful Banter? And she was like, kind of love that. And then that was it. And, you know, it's been received pretty well. And now here we are, grown as these musicians. Like, we are not the same musicians that we were, like, back in 2017. Even though we've known each other since 2015. It just took that long for us to kind of get together and push through that. And now I can't even imagine not doing that.
Yeah.
You know?
Agreed.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, you guys definitely come across as like very playful and joyful in your music, and just the way that you two kind of mesh together really well. I might have mentioned this, I think, when I first spoke to you at that show at the community center, that like it kind of reminds me of the same vibe as like my favorite band, Joseph, which is a group of 3 sisters. You just have that kind of like sisterly bond, even though you're not actually like sisters. And it definitely comes across in your music and your style, I think. Which brings me to my next question of how would you describe your musical style?
That's the hardest question I think anyone could have.
Oh man, I mean, there's so many different influences in our music. Like, I know for me, I grew up on bluegrass, so there's a lot of that just for me in the way that I play. I think it's so many different things. I think it really just depends on the story that we're trying to tell in the song that we're writing. So, you know, some things have a very indie, folky vibe, and other things have a bluegrassy vibe, and then there's even like a little bit of rock and roll.
Yeah, there's a little bit. There's like a little reggae in there. There's some
jam band.
There's like, and then there's like acoustic, like coffee shop sort of indie, like open chords, very like airy, wispy kind of a deal. I think overall, like for me, like if I was listening to us play, it kind of reminds me of like open road music. Like I wouldn't mind listening. This sounds like weird, but I wouldn't mind listening to us like on a road trip. You know, I feel like that. Whatever that would be is kind of I think what we are. We're road mix material.
Road mix. That should be a genre.
Road mix, yeah.
I like that. I'm going to start using that, road mix, and people will be like, what's that? And I'll be like, Playful Banter. That's what road mix is. Yeah, I definitely, that's cool about how you kind of have all these different styles and different music that you like. Like, that's just true to nature. Like, nobody really ever listens to just one kind of music or one genre. And like, you know, I feel like nowadays a lot of artists are like doing that, where they're combining genres, they're trying different things. So that's pretty cool. For each of you, what was your first exposure to music, and when did that evolve into creating your own?
Do you want to go? Or
I'm trying to remember.
Okay, I'll go. So my father is a musician. He's one of those people that everyone hates. He can pick up any instrument and learn how to play it in 2 seconds. But his first instrument was piano. So I grew up playing the piano from the time I was 4. But I think music, because he's so musical, music has been in my life since I can remember. But I actually joined a program in my teens called School of Rock. Do you know that movie?
Yeah, uh-huh.
I did that program, and I was terrified. I mean, I had such bad stage fright, but that program helped me kind of like come out of my shell a little bit, and I think playing with her hugely has helped me come out of my shell. So when I was participating in that program, that was kind of when I was like, oh my gosh, I love performing. I love playing music. I want to do this. So, yeah.
So I don't really have anybody in my family who does the music thing. I'm kind of the first. However, my father was kind of like a music buff, you know. I remember like something that he loved doing was like if we were in the car and I didn't know who an artist was that was playing or whatever, he would go into these like really long lectures, and we would go on these really long drives, and he would lecture about like the history of these musicians. Like there's some people who just know a lot about musicians. Like I'm not one of them. I can't like name the singers and the guitar players of a band, but except for the Beatles, I would say that's like the one band that I know like everything about. But I don't know. I always liked kind of like performing and doing these little things like for like either family and friends and talent shows and whatever. So that always kind of came naturally to me. And I got a guitar in, I think I was like 9 or 10. And then that kind of just set the course there. And those lectures kind of kept coming and different things like that. And I would kind of put myself out there and then kind of pull back because of the way that, you know, just life ebbs and flows, and then put myself out there a little bit more with the music and then come back. And then I started writing a bunch. But it was just mainly like solo stuff for a really long time until I met this one. So, yeah.
Nice. That's great. Your original songs have so much unique raw power behind them. I was listening to some of them from your Facebook live recordings, and Headhunter and Foragers Harvest are especially coming to mind, especially the latter one, since that song is almost like 3 to 4 songs in one. I thought it was really cool when listening to it. So where do you draw inspiration for your songs from, and what is your creative process like?
Oh, wow. I love that question. I know. There's so many things. I know it depends on the song. I know Foragers Harvest was a song that we came out with this year, and we were so inspired, not just because of, like, you know, nobody kind of expected all of this to kind of happen, and it was kind of just devastating. I remember at a time we had just moved into this apartment. Lots of major changes were going on, and you know, riots were happening, and like COVID really started to break out and things like that. And we sat down. We were like, okay, like how can we still kind of like take our power back, you know? Because it's hard not to feel helpless in this sort of situation, and a lot of people have adapted, and like I commend them, you know. As we all have, but we like sat there and we made a list, and after that Foragers Harvest came together rather quickly, and it was just, we kind of came back to like, okay, like how do we take care of our bodies and our spirits and our minds? Like we, like, you know, what was it? Alexis learned how to cut her hair.
And I failed.
No, she did really great. Anything. So, learning how to grow our own food and garden and
We pickled.
Pickle.
Nice.
Pickle. And
Homeopathic.
Oh yeah. Like holistic meditations or any kind of therapies in that kind of regard. Learning how to kind of survive out in the wild, and it was crazy. It's almost like we were manifesting this sort of like very earthy sort of like, let's bring it back to our like our predecessors, like from like thousands of years ago. And then we started foraging, you know, pounds and pounds of mushrooms that would cost hundreds of dollars we found in the woods. And her mom, was it your mom who got you that book?
Yes, it was.
We got this book called Foragers Harvest, and it kind of teaches you about
how to forage and
how to harvest.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah, those 2 songs. I mean, our creative process, it's so different depending on what's going on. I know there have been times where we sat down to write and been like, you know, what kind of story do you want to tell? And then there's other times like with Foragers Harvest where either your heart is so heavy or the emotion is so strong, and it kind of pours out of you. And I think that's where the really powerful music comes from. I know I was really longing for a sense of power in a time where I was really upset with the way that the world was going, and I felt like I really couldn't make a difference as just one person. So instead of, sitting in that, I mean, I remember we were watching videos of like the riots going on, and I was bawling my eyes out because it was hard. And I think, when you feel like that, I have to channel it somewhere, right? So we channel it into music, and it just kind of flows that way. And I think that's when the really beautiful stuff happens.
Yeah, especially with that song, I feel like we kind of pushed ourselves, not just like to get this out, but musically we pushed ourselves. I mean, I know I'll speak for myself. It's like sometimes we'll play a song and then we finish and I'm like, wow, like that's ours. Like we created that,
Yeah.
And Headhunter was like kind of the same sort of process. Like sometimes we get to a point where the bottle is full and it's like overflowing, and it almost happens without our permission. Like Headhunter was like this song where like I remember I was just kind of like, am I gonna like stay in this kind of mundane sort of lifestyle that I thought that I was expected to stay in? Like, am I supposed to be more than I am? And that song kind of like kicked that off, know? And
I would say Headhunter was kind of what opened the can in terms of like, I think Foragers Harvest is really similar to Headhunter in a certain kind of way, in the energy that it kind of gives off, and even down to like the chords and just the message behind it, kind of. And I think that Headhunter was the point where, like, for example, I know one of our songs, the Go On, Get Gone song, which is super fun. It is like a classic, like, girl mad about a guy and like get going, you know what I mean? And I think Headhunter was the tipping point where we were like, okay, we're going to get down to like the nitty gritty and talk about like what we really feel as women, as adventurers, as people who want to live a certain kind of life, and maybe think that there's like something way bigger out there than what we're experiencing right now, and that we're going to go get it. And really exciting. Really, really exciting.
That's great. Yeah, those songs are definitely very exciting. And I love that about the foraging and the gardening. Like, I love to be outside and to garden and all of that. And I grew a garden too this summer, but I didn't like go out and forage, but I thought it would be really cool. Like, I may have foraged a few raspberries here and there because like those grow wild around. But other than that, like, I don't know anything about mushrooms. I don't know the difference between the poisonous ones and the non-poisonous ones. So that's like really cool that you guys like literally got out there and foraged the earth is so cool. And I think what you said about Foragers Harvest too is just so true about like 2020 in general as a year has been such a turning point for like a society, everything as a whole, with like you said, the riots and then COVID. It's like the song Foragers Harvest, when I heard it, I felt so empowered by it, which is something that kind of you touched upon, Alexis, has been hard to feel in general this year. So yeah, it's just an amazing song, and that's an amazing message. And kind of brings me a little bit into my next question, like a good segue. Both of you seem like very strong, grounded women and very down to earth. And at your performance this past summer at the Raritan Inn for the Middle Valley Community Center, you each mentioned that Playful Banter's recent music has a theme of breaking away from the norm and is all about freedom and liberation. So how does this philosophy play into your music?
So this has been like a very recent realization, you know, because oh, sorry, I just listened. Here's the scoop.
Go ahead.
So I feel like it's like, you know,
Talk about it.
not just 2020, but like even 2019, I feel like, I'll just be honest, you know, like Alexis and her boyfriend have been like, you know, planning this like huge, amazing journey. And, you know, we're close. So I've been like, I viewed that over the last couple of years, and it was just so possible. Like you think that like this kind of life of travel is kind of meant for a specific group of people and that it's kind of unattainable, right? And breaking away from this norm that like, you know, you stay in the same place and you know, you do the American dream and that only looks like one type of way. And if you try to inch away from it at all, people are like, ooh, you know? And I think that like I was inspired, you know, by them. And that started to kind of show in the music, and then steps actually started to be taken, you know, and and now like we're both kind of working towards this like free sort of lifestyle, because believe it or not, if we want to take a year off of work, it's like totally fine. And the same, like, and you know, life will still be here.
Yep.
But I feel like, and I'll just speak for myself, but I feel like sometimes like there is like it's almost like a taboo, you know, that people are like, no, what are you doing? You're just take your 1 or 2 week vacation a year and that's it. You can do that. Like, oh, I'll work until I'm dead, or like I'll work until I'm 65. I'll do it when I'm retired. And I can't do it. I can't imagine that, because like I am in the prime of my life right now. Like I will not have the opportunities, the physical capabilities, the mental capacities that I do right now later on. I just won't. Now is the time to seize it, and I don't want to like let fear kind of hold me back. And so it's been a lot of monumental change towards that, and keeping like with that truth that I feel. It's like a fire inside of my body, you know. And when you kind of have like-minded people around you, and like that are supporting that, like breaking away from that dream and things like that, that's kind of like been my experience where I'm just like, well, he's doing it with his photography and she's doing it, and like this is so I could do this, you know. And I feel like I'm rambling now.
Yeah, you are.
No, it's okay. No,
But,
you made a good point.
Yeah, no, I feel like I'm glad that you mentioned even the end of 2019, because I think that was like the turning point. There was a lot of like unnecessary layers that needed to be shed, you know, things in life that needed to be like a snakeskin, just like peeled off. And it's hard to peel things off that you love and you're attached to, and they keep you warm and you're comfortable. It's hard to peel them off. And I watched Kim just like peel off those layers like one by one and just do the thing that she didn't want to do. And she did it anyway for for freedom, to be who it is that she is. And so when you're watching people in your life do things like that, that energy just, it fills whatever space you're in. And, you know, there was quarantine, so we had a lot of free time to kind of dive into that philosophy. And like she said before, you know, learn new things and pick up new hobbies and do new tasks. And we were all meditating together. We were, you know, doing like these group meditation, and the energy was just insane. And I think that awoke that philosophy, and it just, you know, whatever you feel, whoever you are, goes into what you do. And it just so happens that we do music. So if we were bakers, our cakes would probably feel really free, but we write songs, so our songs feel free. So
you answered that a lot better. That was so perfect.
You know, both your answers are good. I think you touched upon like
the backstory to get us to the problem, to answer the question.
No, I think it's perfect because like you touched upon a really good point of what you said about like life will still be there, and you know it's our lives to live, and you know you should live life how you want to live it and what feels right to you and your soul. And like I think that's something that you're right, people are sometimes expected to fit a mold, and like that there's a certain way that life should be lived, but like that's not the point. Like why are we here if we're not meant to live life to the fullest, to the way we want to live it? So I think it's great that you guys like are figuring that out now, because I feel like you always hear stories of people who don't realize that until it's too late, or you know they like have missed what they wanted to do. But life is, you know, life will be there, and it's great that you guys are like going through this period of growth and self-discovery. I think that's just amazing and really inspirational.
Thank you.
You seem to have very strong connections to community and roots, which is actually kind of funny because then you brought up about kind of shedding those layers and traveling. But I wanted to ask, well, I noticed in your performance for the community center, Kim, you mentioned how special playing for the community center is for you and how you've grown with that community. So could you guys talk a little bit more about how this community has influenced your lives and your music?
Yeah. So Middle Valley Community Center, it's in Califon, right?
yeah,
It's in Califon. I get confused because it's right there near Long
there's
Valley.
a lot going on over there.
But we did our first show as Playful Banter there. That was our first show as Playful Banter. We had played before, but like we debuted as Playful Banter there, and it was a big deal, you know. And we were still kind of young. We weren't where we are at now musically.
Babies.
Oh, such a baby. And we learned so much, you know. It definitely wasn't our best performance, but we were so supported. And they invited us back. And every single year we get the same thing, like, whoa, like you guys have grown so much and your music has grown and we can see it, and like, wow. And that just keeps kind of coming, and it's kind of cool when you can look back and other people can kind of look back and see how you've grown over like the years, individually but also together, you know. But yeah, we were babies. We had no idea what we were doing. We had no idea how to market a show.
Nope.
We didn't even know like how to set up our own equipment.
Nope.
Or what equipment even was.
Yeah.
Luckily, like Alexis's family is very like rooted in that area because that's where she's from, like Long Valley, and her parents really, really, really supported us. Like her father's our sound guy. Her mom is kind of like our manager, and she got us that connection there, which is how we came to play there. And from that, we started making our own connections with the people there and things like that. But it feels good returning there every single year, like kind of blossoming into this new flower or whatever, you know.
Yeah, they took a chance on us, you know.
They really did.
They took a chance on us. They said, "All right, you guys can go up there and give it a shot," and we did, and it's honestly it changed our lives, and it is really special that because the community center has a board, and we see all those people each time we play. And some of them have even come to some of our other gigs, and it's a very tight-knit community. And you were there. Like the acoustics in the room are insane, and it's such a historic building. It's just a symbol of community in and of itself. And they say like it takes a village. And when we started, we didn't know how to do anything. All we knew how to do was tune our instruments and play. And like we needed help. We needed support, and they so graciously gave it to us. And it's part of what pushed us to keep going. And it's so why we love going back there every year. We just love it. Yeah. They're the best.
That's amazing. Yeah, I remember that was my, I had never gone to any community center event that they had done before. But I think I saw it on Facebook or something as a recommended event, your show in 2019. And I was like, that sounds cool. I'll go. And then I went and I was just blown away. I didn't know what to expect. And like you said, I got chills with the acoustics and just like your music in that venue, in that space. Like it was so amazing. I got chills. I teared up at points. I was like, this is so powerful.
You came at a good time. Like at that show was so well, probably one of my favorite shows was our 2019 show. We came in, we were prepared, we knew what we were doing. Oh my gosh. And it was an emotional show. Oh my God.
And it's cool to hear like how you experienced it. It's always really, really nice to hear how other people are experiencing your music. So thanks for sharing that with us. That's awesome.
Yeah, of course. I really wanted to get to the show that you guys did for the community center at the Raritan Inn this summer. But I wasn't around that weekend. But I watched it on Facebook. I was glad you put it on Facebook because I was like, it's like I'm there. I get to experience it again. It's just so great. Kind of related, your live performances have a nice balance of originals and covers and mashups. And your covers also cover, no pun intended, a wide range of artists from Fish to the Allman Brothers to a little bit of Fleetwood Mac. And then you even had that one Disney song kind of mashed in there. So what are your latest musical obsessions? Like music that right now you can't stop listening to or playing?
Wolfpack live.
Oh my God. It's the greatest album.
I have been listening to that album, Wolfpack. They're a funk band, live at Madison Square Garden. I listen to it. I've been listening to it every day for about 6 months, maybe longer.
That I remember. So the people that I work for went to that show, and I was watching their kids so that they could go to that show, and I was so sick. I was so sick, and I was watching them. So, and I was just like falling asleep on the couch, and then I remember like you were playing it in the car, and I was like, wait, that was from that show. Oh my gosh. And we went to North Carolina. We listened to that whole album on the way down there.
Yeah, multiple times.
Oh, it's so good. You just can't not smile and dance and sing ridiculously. And such a funky, funky album. That and Christmas music.
Yeah. So we're listening to a lot of Christmas music against our will.
Yeah.
Not that we don't enjoy it, but yeah, against our will because we have roommates.
We have one. Alexa, play Christmas music
every day. But yeah, Wolfpack. I recently watched a film about the band, so then I got into the band again for a minute. I know you love the band.
I love the band.
I've been listening to a lot of. Well, I always listen to Bluegrass, but the Steel Drivers, they've got a revival in my heart right now. What about you? Anything that you
I'm still on my jam band thing. I've been doing a lot of Government Mule, Humphreys McGee, Fish will always be a constant. Let's see. I mean, sometimes I'll slow it down. I've been really into Shaky Graves, I think it's called. That's what his name is. Yeah, so I'm really, really into him right now. And just kind of whatever my Spotify's got me going on. Bob Dylan. We actually have also been listening to, I don't know if you would consider it like ragtime, but I've been like into that whenever you guys are playing it. Like,
yeah.
Like, I don't know. Is that
Jazz?
what that would be? I don't really think that that's jazz.
I have been listening to a lot of jazz. Actually.
You have been listening to jazz, but you know, it's just kind of like
swing.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's not that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
more like up.
A lot of music.
Yeah, lots of music. But I like really miss going to festivals right now, and like you know, the summer's over and like shows are over, so I'm still kind of like trying to keep that alive right now, at least for myself. But yeah, just kind of a plethora of like pretty much everything.
It's kind of like when I asked you the question about musical style.
Yeah.
It's not fair to just listen to one.
You can't just
then the other one will be like, what about us? And we're like,
no,
no, we love you too.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's so true. Just like this week alone, my Spotify has been bouncing back and forth between like garage rock to some bluegrass to bedroom pop, like all these interesting genres. So yeah, I know what you mean. I have to check out some of the bands that you mentioned. Sounds pretty great. When you're not playing music, what are you most likely to be doing?
Oh, the California Honey Drops too. I love them right now. Sorry.
Oh, okay. It's okay. I will put that on my list of things to listen to. It's a cute name.
What was the question?
We have two beautiful cats that we could be found petting at any time. Other than that, I am really into mountain biking right now. I've been doing a lot of that. Yeah. What about you? What are you doing?
I've kind of delved into like more of a meditation. I'm meditating every freaking day, at least 20 minutes a day. I'm meditating, and also doing some yoga. I've been really into kind of like a more spiritual path right now. So I'm working with a somatic life coach like twice a month to kind of work on like honing into my intuition and like, you know, listening to like what my gut, like what my truth is telling me. Just kind of, yeah, I'm just like working right now on spiritual, like more of like a spiritual growth. At the beginning of this quarantine or like COVID, I had just finished a yoga teacher training. And that was supposed to continue, and then unfortunately it got canceled. So that's kind of what I've been up to. But you know, like school's got me pretty busy. To be honest, It's been hard to kind of even like play together. It's easy when you've got like shows and gigs to look forward to, and they say like, oh, you know, we thought like we're gonna live together and it's gonna be easy to play together because we'll be living together now.
We can just go downstairs instead of having to drive
to each other's houses.
It's not easy.
It's actually worse.
I would argue it's worse.
Yeah. Yeah. But when we do, it's good.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's good. Yeah.
That sounds.
You've been up to something else.
What have I been up to? Oh yeah, I'm building a van. Yeah, so like
that's fun.
Kim was talking about the whole journey and big goals. My boyfriend and I we bought a ProMaster that we're converting into a tiny house.
That is so cool.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
On that. It's been so cool. Equally as like frustrating because neither of us know what we're doing, but we're figuring it out along the way. So that's like how I can't believe I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, why did she say it? But yeah, it's been really cool to kind of watch their process and that, because it's kind of been like the main focus, and it will continue to be. You know, the floors got put in, and
we just
they insulated it. And it's interesting because my boyfriend already has a built-out van, you know. So being able to kind of watch the process and like they're just kind of like going for it. It's really, really cool to watch and just kind of like step back and see how they navigate through like that together. But it was cool like watching the van being brought in and you guys are sitting outside with the picnic table signing the title and stuff.
Yeah, that was really exciting.
It's really, really exciting to kind of we're all like living together, so being a part of this like
Like a little unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man unit.
Mm-hmm.
That is so cool. And like such a funny coincidence because I've been like scrolling through Instagram and for some reason my Instagram feed is like all entirely tiny houses and like converted van houses.
Nice.
So that's really funny that maybe one day I'll see yours on the Instagram feed.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's funny because this kind of leads into my next question, which I originally wrote down as like a funny, unrelated, not funny, but like an unrelated question. But now it suddenly seems related because you mentioned travel earlier, and I'm going to assume that you're going to travel in your van, probably.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask about travel. So Kim, you had mentioned, that one of your originals in the recording of the show in the summer, that one of your originals was about a trip to Hilton Head, and Alexis, one of yours was about some road trips you took with your partner. And then Kim, I also saw that you mentioned that you were going to travel too, kind of go on a road trip with your boyfriend. So it sounds like you guys like to travel.
Yeah. I did that back in sorry, what was the question? I didn't even let you finish.
Oh no, the question was just like, if you wanted to talk a little more about travel or where your favorite places are that you've traveled.
Yeah. Well, I just finished taking a trip this past September. My boyfriend and I left for the whole month and we went to the Southwest, and my whole life has been rather small. I was born in New York and I grew up here, and this has just kind of been New Jersey's just this little hub of Morris County is all I've known. We moved around a lot when I was younger, but it's been a constant staying in New Jersey. So in my mind, the world is really small. I have no idea what's out there. I was kind of scared to even go. I was freaking out to her a lot, and oh my God, I fell in love out there. Oh, I thought Utah was this barren wasteland, and there's so many things there. I fell in love at Utah, and there's Colorado, and just all these other cool, really awesome places. I went to I think we went to 16 national parks. I did hikes that I had no business doing.
You had business. You finished them.
I know, but when you're in the middle of them, I mean, it's crazy when you're doing something crazy, when you're doing a mountain bike path that you're I might die here, and then you do it, and you're how did I just do that?
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Okay, that's fair.
So I had a lot of those moments where I was just wow, I'm capable of doing this, and I had no idea. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of my first big adventure. I've been to Hilton Head with my friends. I love it there. A couple of my girlfriends from high school and I used to go every year. And it was just a little vacation spot. The adventure came when I this past September. I had never experienced anything like that. We were in the van full time, either staying in these really cool places that looks like different planets, or Walmart parking lots. It was great. It was really, really cool. It's kind of been my whole deal right now. I can't wait to go back. It's really hard to just not be doing that right now, especially when it's frigid outside.
Yeah, it's cold. It's cold.
That is so cool.
Where am I going?
Where are you going?
Yeah. Travel for me. Well, my favorite place I think I've ever been was Hawaii. I went there with my family. Yeah, the jungle vibes. I love heat, sun, water, hot. That's just my zone. I love it. Tan, yes. Tan, come on. Yeah. But in the past year or two, all the trips that I've taken have been absolutely monumental in my life, and they really just came at the perfect time. I went to Yosemite in California, and I went to Sedona in Arizona in the past year. And I don't know, for me, travel is so amazing because when you don't leave where you grew up, you never will know how anybody else lives. So when I started traveling, I realized, oh my God, there are so many different people living a successful life in their eyes. And it's so different for each person. You know, there are a million different people living a million different lives, succeeding in a way that works for them. And when you don't leave, like when you don't travel, when you don't give yourself that opportunity to see, you know, to see that, you can kind of feel like you're trapped in that box and like you don't belong, or that there's a pressure to live a certain way, when in reality there's people all over the place that are living exactly how you want to. You just haven't met them yet. And travel gives you the opportunity to meet them. And for me, I love to travel to nature so very much because life is hard and there's pressure and there's fear and there's anxiety. And every time I go into the woods, I just leave a little bit of it behind and I come out feeling, you know, just that much lighter. It really does like change the way I feel about myself and others. So that's like, I think the two biggest things for me of why I love it so much and why I can't wait to do it
And nature
indefinitely.
Nature is such a constant too. Like,
yeah,
the world's always changing, but like something that doesn't is that. Like that will always be a comfort zone for us.
mm-hmm.
You know, that we can always kind of like find who we are or get what we need, like by just putting ourselves like on a trail or on a mountain or on just grass, like
as simple
feet
as
to grass. Yeah.
That should be like a slogan. It's as simple as feet to grass.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good one.
Put that in a song.
Okay, yeah, we'll put in a song.
Ooh, new song idea. How exciting.
Yeah.
And it's like, honestly, like travel, like you think of it as this like very big, like luxurious thing and whatever. And
van life is dirty, but it's a good kind of dirty.
Yeah, and you know what? Like if you do it right, it's fine.
You're good.
It's really fine.
Yeah.
Kind of learning how to, like, you know, your hair doesn't get as greasy when it's braided. So there's that. You don't need a lot of water to clean your body. I also learned that. You need very little water to clean your body. But it's so true. Or to do dishes or anything like that. And you just don't need a lot of things to, like, be happy and live a very fulfilling life. You know, it's very, very attainable, like, to live that kind of a lifestyle. And it's very fulfilling. Very fulfilling.
Yeah, that's what I love about travel too, is getting to see how other people live and what life is like in another place. And it does kind of, like, I went on a road trip last summer with my college roommates, and yeah, it wasn't like in a van, so it wasn't the same level, but still, you know, packing light, stopping in different places all the time. So like you do kind of learn when you travel too about, like you said, like what kind of things you actually don't need. And it kind of changes your perspective, changes your lifestyle a little bit. And that's just one of the beautiful things about travel, I think, too. So I have to give credit for this next question to the music blog, A Lonely Ghost Burning. I think it's such a good question. So I just had to take it.
Yeah.
What makes you smile?
Everything. I think I'm always smiling over something.
Ooh. Okay.
Animal videos.
A really good avocado.
Oh my gosh, or a pineapple.
Yeah, like really, really simple stuff.
Walking in and
the cat
seeing our cat. Sometimes, like, so Magoo is her cat, and he'll be on, like, the actual seat part of the couch, like, if that's here. And then Oliver, my cat, will be on the ledge of the couch. And walking into them, just, like, sitting there, we're just like, oh, my God. So, sometimes, we had that moment today where you were like, can we just appreciate that it's a Wednesday and everybody was downstairs and we're all just kind of cozy and it's the first snow of the season. And
it doesn't take much.
No, honestly, anything.
Yeah.
It's a loaded question of smiles.
That's a really great question because immediately you smile.
Yeah.
Right after.
Because you think about everything that smiles.
Yeah.
Like, makes you smile.
I know, that's why I just love that question so much.
Yeah.
It's so great to hear, what makes people smile. Like, it's great. Everything. So my last question is, what's next for Playful Banter? All things considered, of course, I know it's, difficult to make plans sometimes during a pandemic, but you mentioned during your performance at the Raritan Inn that you're working on recording something.
Yeah, we definitely want to kind of continue that. It's been kind of hard to kind of schedule that. But,
Okay. This is the plan. Okay? 2 bands.
Oh!
Her and Evan, me and my partner. We record, we slap it on a CD. Well, that's not realistic.
We should have
put it on
these. Beforehand.
And then we take this show on the road to wherever we can.
Hell yeah. Playful Banter's hitting the road.
And that's the way that's my dream. That's the way I hope it's going to go. But in the meantime, always creating, always drawing on, inspiration and experience. Never stop writing, never stop playing. We could always practice more.
We could always practice more. But then we start practicing and we're like, we should hang out more.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay,
with you.
let's hang out. And we should work out together. So then we just get to...
And then we just don't hang out with anyone else and it becomes extremely unhealthy.
Yes.
No, but I think I can only speak for myself, but I'm really looking forward to spring and summer where outdoor gigs can hopefully start to happen again.
Yes.
Because that Music in the Woods series at Schiff, I mean, that venue was just stunning. And
it feels like we're in an orb.
Yeah, it was absolutely beautiful.
Gosh.
It was everything you could have asked for an outdoor concert. The sound is insane. The leaves are insane. You can see people biking and hiking like behind the stage. It's just, it's incredible. So I personally can't wait for warmer weather to roll around so that we hopefully can get out there. But in the meantime, just create. So we'll see how it goes.
And hopefully, at some point this year we'll have something concrete to kind of like give out, but just kind of enjoying the process of it all.
That's awesome. Yeah, life is about the journey, not the destination.
That's right.
Yeah, well, I'm super excited for this, like, going on the road thing. If you do that, I can't wait to see you. To get that recording. It would be great. And yeah, so that's it for my questions. Thank you, Alexis and Kim, for joining me today. It's been so much fun talking to you and learning about Playful Banter. I'm looking forward to what the future holds for you guys.
Yes,
thank you, Sarah. Thank you for having us. This has been awesome.
Yes.
And for all my listeners, viewers, you can find Playful Banter on Instagram and Facebook at Playful Banter Music.